The University of Maine plans to extend their food innovation sector. A new food innovation lab will be coming to the Orono campus in hopes to create a space for startup businesses, entrepreneurs, or established companies in the food industry to commercially produce food products. The difference between this project and the current Highland pilot plant on campus is the facility will be commercially licensed. Since the state of Maine has limited spaces for shared production facilities, the Associate Dean of the Cooperative Extension says this multi-million-dollar project won't just benefit the university, but it will create more partnerships throughout the region.
Kind of large-scale production facilities that are available to many entrepreneurs are only available if they really put up the capital. There's a great facility down in Southern Maine for Food Lab who offers kind of similar spaces, but it is limited. And so it's not available necessarily to everyone in the state because of geographic location. So this kind of puts a different hub along with a different area of expertise and different kind of educational opportunities in more kind of the central Maine locations.
The facility will be located in part of the Keogh building, and Bolton says they plan to extend the facility to meet all of the requirements. The project is funded through the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan and congressional spending. They're hoping to finalize their designs and start construction early in 2025.